What's up, guys? LQ here with the LQ Review. Thank you so much for joining me here at my YouTube channel. This is where I talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that I love to talk about, and right now I'm going to talk about the Apple TV movie, The Gorge. This was a movie that I actually just recently heard about, probably around Christmas time. I heard that this movie was coming out, and it piqued my interest. You know, the idea of two snipers on opposite sides of a gorge guarding the gate to hell, which was how I heard it. You know, I heard at the time that they were guarding the gate to hell, and I was like, ooh, that's interesting. Sign me up. Then I heard you had Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy playing the two snipers, and I was like, hey, this is even more interesting. I really like both those actors. Um, and then I heard it was going straight to Apple TV, that it wasn't going to theaters, and I got a little worried. I was like, all right, why aren't they putting this in theaters? And Apple TV has usually done a pretty good job of sending their movies to the theaters first, even if those movies don't perform well. You know, Argyle didn't really perform well. Killers of the Flower Moon, I think, performed pretty well, and it was good. Napoleon didn't really perform all that well, so even if they're not performing well, they're still sending them to theaters, giving them that theatrical release, legitimizing them so when they do come out on streaming, it's a big event. So obviously, The Gorge did not get a theatrical release, and I'm over here like, okay, that's troublesome. Probably means it's not that good. And they should have given this a theatrical release. I don't know why they did it. This is, out of all those movies I just mentioned, this is better than Napoleon. This is way better than Argyle. And it might not be a better movie than Killers of the Flower Moon, but I enjoyed it more. Like, I will rewatch this more than I will rewatch Killers of the Flower Moon. This was a good movie. It was fun. It was original. And there was twists and turns in it that some of them you saw coming, and some of them you're like, oh, I like that. That's different. As you get into it, it kind of becomes less. So at the start of the movie, it's very slow, right? You're getting to know the characters, and then you see them form their relationship. And then it delves into something happens, and it kind of delves into kind of this horror territory where there's like Evil Dead stuff happening, trees coming to life, and things like that. And almost, it kind of reminded me a little of The Mist too. Just the way that there was warped versions of things that we know that were extremely deadly. It reminded me a little bit of The Mist. But so it kind of went into this horror territory, and then it kind of shifted and became this sci-fi mystery. All wrapped up in this bow of being this action video gamey type movie. And all of it was fun. I enjoyed it, every twist and turn. I enjoyed all the action sequences. Most of the special effects were pretty good. There was some rough around the edges moments, but I assume that this movie had a fairly small budget, so that can be forgiven as long as the narrative is good. And in this, the narrative was really good. Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy had great chemistry together, and the movie had a satisfying conclusion. I don't really have any complaint. The one odd thing in this movie was the casting of Sigourney Weaver. Sigourney Weaver shows up in the beginning, she shows up at the end, and it was just a very odd character for her to play. And kind of what happens to her at the end wasn't expected either, because you'd think casting a big character like this, it would be, let's set up a sequel and let's have this character continue. And just some things happen where you're like, all right, that's not going to happen. So Sigourney Weaver's role in this was pretty odd, but Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy, great chemistry. They did a great job. Action sequences were great. Some of it was scary. Some of it was just a fun action ride, roller coaster type movie. And I have no complaints here. This isn't a movie that's going to end up being my favorite movie of the year or anything like that, but it was a fun time, and I would have loved to have seen this on the big screen in the movie theater. So I don't know who's making the calls on some of these movies that go straight to streaming that should have gone to theaters, but they get it wrong a lot because this one should have had a theatrical release. So if I were to give this one a score, I'd say 7 out of 10, maybe 6.5 out of 10. Not great, not going to be my favorite movie of the year, but it was fun, and I definitely recommend you checking it out. So that's my thoughts on the Gorge. Have you seen it? If so, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below. While you're down there commenting, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.